But I think a lot of people thought that will be one there.
One in West New Bern, is it an indoor pool or outdoor?
Outdoor. The YMCA also has two pools, one that is indoor all the time, and then they have an outdoor pool that in the wintertime they put a bubble.
Thing over it.
Yeah, cover over it so it can be used.
But you gotta be a member. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. But they do,
But
they,
it's not super expensive, but it's, you know.
yeah, but they offer,
More
like, I think it's every third grader in Craven County, they offer free swim lessons or, you know, getting them used to the water. So they do some really good programs, have some scholarships and other things there
Do
too.
they have swim teams in the schools?
They do. Mhm.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here today. Much. It is that time. It is 4:30. I'd like to call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bengal,
Here.
Commissioner Copeland,
Here.
Commissioner Outlaw,
Here.
Commissioner Powell,
Present.
Commissioner Reddick,
Here.
Commissioner Scott.
Present.
Is Commissioner Blackman on the?
I don't
No,
think so.
okay. Commissioner Blackman is out. We have one.
Any public comments, Mr. Barnes?
No, sir, nobody's requested.
Staff comments? Comments on this great conference that you all went to.
Oh, wow.
I knew it was great.
It was.
I know it was.
It was wonderful. We had a couple great days and I highly recommend that any other commissioners in the future take the opportunity to go. Ridge had to take me kicking and screaming, but I went. And I'm not sorry because met lots of commissioners from across the country. And that was the really fun part, is talking to others from different parts of the country, how they operate, and have formed a friendship. And I hope to invite them over here. I've been in touch with the Greenville, North Carolina Housing Authority. So I met the city manager from Greenville was actually there, and some of their commissioners. So got to talk to them and maybe exchange some ideas and help them, and they can help us. But I found it really interesting. The first session I attended was one with a HUD, not HUD, but she worked for commissions, right? She was a, HUD commissioner or consultant for, I don't know, 50 some years. And she was amazing. She just had the answers to all the questions and gave us lots of good information on how to operate within a board and some of the things that we could do, mission statements, how important they are to an agency, that we should be a premier agency through excellence. I just liked everything that I saw and heard. It was really good. Anyway, then we also heard from an accountant from BDO, talk to us. And then I also attended the session from an attorney. He's been working with HUD offices for years, and that was really interesting to listen to him. And they were very forthcoming with cards, and you can contact us anytime. So I have pages of notes, but as you would guess, I would. But there's also a website. Can anybody access that, or just the people who went to the conference? The paperwork went to the conference. Well, I think it would be a good idea if you can still do that, Mr. Barner, to print out some of those sessions, because they had great, like PowerPoint sessions that would give us good information as commissioners. Now, they had other segments, sessions that staff could go to, but for the commissioners, it was really, really good information. So I would highly encourage.
If it was like it was last year, you can download those slides and forward them to
Right.
one another.
Right.
It was the same way.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But it was just really good.
That's good.
You want to add, Janelle? I know she was right there with me the whole time, so.
No, I enjoy going. This is my second year going. So this year it was a little bit easier to navigate, especially with it being in a different location. But everything was very informational. I was, the lady that you were talking about, I can't remember her name.
I can't either.
but,
Oh, is that what is it?
Mary and Russ.
Marianne Russ. She
Yes.
was really good. Yeah.
She, what is the word? She held our attention. And I will say normally, you know, at these conferences, you're about to fall asleep. She was the only one up there. Really, there was no panel. It was just her. And she got down to the nitty gritty and she really
Like it is.
held our attention. Yes. Which I was very impressed by that.
More comments, things of that nature. I enjoyed it when I went the last time, and I thought it's a very fruitful experience for all commissioners to go. Cause go ahead.
I would like to say that our illustrious director was actually honored, and I asked him to stand up in the first session that we went to. It was the opening session. I do want to point out that one of the panelists, he helped her get her start.
Yes.
And she was very good as well. I also want to say that panel was really, really good because we've been through floods and other things, but one of the ladies actually had two of her tenants. They died because of carbon monoxide. And she told, I'm telling you, y'all, it's not just us. Okay, going through what we are going through, it is other housing authorities as well. And I like how they were transparent and very open about their experiences. But when our director had to stand, I mean, it was just like, man,
That's pretty cool.
it was, yeah.
You know, thanks for sharing that. But Mr. Bonner, he's very humble and whatnot. But last year when I was there were some very prominent people that were there talking about how he had helped them
Mhm.
get started and things of that nature. But he'll never talk about those things. And I say that to say what we have in our midst, you can take for granted. But within the field, within the arena across the nation, he is really known. He is really known by a lot of people. So thank you for bringing that up. And just I know we appreciate him, but
Absolutely.
it's great to know that people in this field across the nation respect him just as much as we do. So we thank you for your service, sir.
I have one more thing.
No, that's
I'm
it.
sorry. I started. One of the most significant things that I learned was it is a small community, the housing authorities. When you went there, everybody knew everybody. That I think I picked up on that more this year. They talk, they go to other cities. Even in the discussions, it was such and such from San Diego called me to ask me if I would come and work for them. You know, it was a lot of that. Yeah, it's a small community where everybody I felt, and everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So if your housing authority is level 1, trust me, they're gonna know about it. If you are a level 10, and that's the scale that I'm using, but they're gonna know about that as well. They know exactly what goes on and don't think that they don't.
That's true.
Okay, I'm done.
Did anyone at this thing have thoughts on Scott Turner, the new HUD secretary, or any?
No, because at that point, I don't know that had he been put
I think
forward
he
at
didn't
that
put
point?
forward. He hadn't
Yeah.
been confirmed until just like
Yeah.
last week or something.
Yeah, but not really. It's, not to say the verdict is out, but we don't really
We don't
know
know.
that much about what his policies and
No, I don't.
initiatives are going to be. He worked in the administration, not in HUD, but he worked in the faith-based, community-based
Yeah.
initiative as a special advisor before. But it'd be interesting to see what the policies come out. I do think under the changes in the administration, we'll see more deregulation of policies than we've seen in the past, which I think will be beneficial to us.
Any more questions or comments? You done?
I'm done.
Commissioner Red?
Sorry, we're just blowing out.
No, it was a great experience. Thank you all for sharing. I have the minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as stated.
Second.
I second.
All in favor of approving the move minutes as stated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The finance report.
Hello. So first up, we have the balance sheet. Nothing to report here, but does anyone have any questions? Okay, can we move to the next report? Next, we have the Ross report. So these are the reports for the end of the year. This is going to be the final outside of any adjustments for the year end close or the audit. Nothing to report for the Ross grant. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, on to the next report. Next, we have the low income public housing report. Also, nothing to report here. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. And the last out of the financial reports is the Newborn Towers. Also, nothing to report. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Next up is the cash lead sheet, showing the cash going in and out. Does anyone have any questions on the cash? Okay, and last we have the grant summary. Does anyone have any questions on the grant summary?
We come in, I'll add, that we discussed a little bit, if you look at the 2021, we have a deadline of 2/25, and we will obligate and expend those funds before that deadline. So we won't miss that deadline to draw those funds.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the finance, was there any questions on the finance reports?
Further questions, comments from the finance report? We do. Move the finance report.
I move.
Second.
All in favor of approving the finance report as reported, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Executive Director.
Okay, I'll be brief. I would ask everybody to put March 17th down on your calendar. That will be the next CNI listening sessions that we will have in the community. Agape and I are working after this morning's dedication. She and I are working to secure the Stanley White Center for us to have the next listening session there, utilize the community space there. Plus, I think it'll give the residents an opportunity to come there and be able to view it as well. So we want to continue to support what the city is doing, and secondly, give the residents an opportunity to come there that evening and be able to have, so we'll have the sessions through the day naturally for other community members, and then the residents that evening. So again, that'll be March 17th, and more details will be forthcoming. The CNI co-developer, well, not the CNI, but the co-developer RFP is on the street. We had a pre-bid conference. We had about 7 contractors that are interested in working with us to attend. That the deadline for them to submit their proposal is on the 3rd of February. So we're looking forward to getting those in. Of those 7, we had about 3 national firms that have experience of working with FEMA and with the CNI process. So we were glad that, our reach has been able to get us out there and get people interested in working with us here in New Bern. So we're excited about that. And then next month, after we do the elections this month, next month, we will have a special call meeting or after the main board meeting at 5:30. We'll have a follow-up meeting of the TVC and the Better Vision Board so we can elect officers for those two nonprofits, other agencies as well. That's really all I have. The year's off to a good start. We're busy and staff is doing the things that we need to do. So I don't have really anything else to report right now unless y'all have a question.
My questions are just scheduling. Sorry, you're doing great. Not worried about that. But so if my calendar's right, next third Monday next month is President's Day, and I don't know if that's something that Housing Authority gets off or not. I just
Yeah.
wanted to check on
No,
it.
is it? No,
No.
we're not all.
So we'll meet like normal on it.
Yeah, yeah.
The following month, March, the 17th is the third Monday, which is, we just said we're having these other meetings, right? Community meetings,
Yes.
family-wide. So
Make a change.
probably we'll reschedule that one.
Probably reschedule
Yeah.
that.
I would assume it might
Yeah,
make sense.
Yeah.
And then the April is Easter Monday, the day after Easter. I don't know if that affects. Back in the day, people got off Easter Monday a lot around the South. I don't know if they still do, but I just,
No, we don't. We don't. have
That's
it.
more Good Friday now.
yeah.
We have Good
Right,
Friday off.
right.
Okay.
We don't have Easter Monday.
All right. So we'll probably meet
Yeah.
regular time. Okay, just checking.
So with that being said, we probably need to make a motion, correct, Jamie, to change our schedule, especially for March, if nothing else, for the March meeting, if we're gonna cancel that meeting.
If you know the date you're gonna move it to.
Right, and also call for a special call meeting. We need to do that by motion as well, correct?
Well, you don't have to call the meeting by motion. If you know the date that you want to move it to, you can certainly change that date today. But you don't need a motion from the board to call a special meeting, so you can decide when the date is later. So I don't know I don't know when you want to change it to. But
Well, you had just said the next meeting, we were gonna have a special call meeting after that
So let me
meeting.
correct my verbiage. We will put on the calendar for the next month meeting, a meeting of both of those boards scheduled in February, not a special call meeting.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the moving the meeting.
Well, I'm talking two different things.
The nonprofits will be scheduled, but
Okay.
that's separate.
All right,
Moving a meeting date, you can do that. You can do it whenever you know the date. As long as you.
if we know now that March is gonna conflict, we should just, can we move it to the next night or do something like that, or the second one? I mean, if whatever's amenable,
Need at least 48 hours.
correct. So that's why we should do it now, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Either the 24th of March, that's the next Monday, or the 18th, which is the next day, right? That's sort of what we normally do.
Yeah,
I know the 18th works better for me, but y'all.
Yeah.
y'all-
now that, I'm fine with that too. Are you good with that, Reggie, being here on Tuesday, the 18th?
So, yeah, that doesn't bother me. Agape brought up a good point.
Although you may be real busy the day before.
Can we wait until next month?
Yes, we can.
And the reason why I'm asking that is you brought up a good point. I think CNI and UDA wanted to meet with the board on that day.
Oh,
So
right.
keeping you all on that schedule, they may, opposed to having a separate meeting with you all, they may just use the board meeting time as the time to meet with you all and go over stuff as well. So we may not end up needing to change
Okay.
the March 17th meeting. So if I can let you all know that in February, then we'll be good.
February will be our regularly scheduled.
Yeah, as of right now. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, February will be. Yeah, I was thinking.
Any more questions for the executive director or comments? Next agenda on item, per our bylaws, this is time of the first meeting for the bylaws that we elect new officers. And so this is that time, and if I could preempt things and just can I make a motion to? What we need to work.
Promotion.
Can I ask for a motion? I'm ready to make one. Hey, I'm ready to make, anyway, yeah. Can I
Go ahead.
entertain a motion?
No, you go ahead and make the motion.
For what? For,
Make us late for the officer.
New officer, the election of new officer, agenda 9.
I think Janelle would be a great chairman. That would be my motion.
Well, go ahead and do all three positions.
I don't really.
Oh, it's chair, vice chair, and treasurer.
Yes.
Vice chair, I think Sabrina would be a great vice chair. I think Jim would be a great treasurer.
I think so.
I mean, that's just, I don't want to.
I'm in agreement with that. I think so too. Can I? Yeah.
I mean, that's,
We take that as a motion.
yeah, that's a motion.
That is second.
Second.
All opposed? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Really?
Y'all know, anyway. Well, all opposed, signify by saying nay. Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes.
And I just want to, I know this is maybe break protocol. I want to thank you all for your support over the last 2 years. We've come a long way. We've done a lot, more to do, but this is it for me. So I'm glad to be leaving it in great hands. Work business, family business, and things of that nature. So this is it. But I feel good because we got some good folk making things happen. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And we need to say thank
For
you.
your service.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your peaceful way and your godly way of running the organization. That's so important in this day and time. And I want to thank you for stepping up your leadership. Some days were not easy and some days were a joy. But I appreciate that you're constant, steady, joyful countenance was always visible. So God bless you. And
Thank you. Well,
I know that wherever you serve, you will serve with.
I'm always a phone call away. So, until we do what we need to do. So
I hate to see you.
Who seconded the motion?
I did.
yeah.
Use what size is your shoe?
Sure.
So Madam Chair, do you want to just take it from here?
Am I supposed to? Or can he at least, does he finish it?
Your term actually ends at the end of the meeting. Sorry.
Officially, his term doesn't end until the mayor appoints somebody new in his place.
Well, on the commission.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
It's all good.
So,
I'll stay in this headspace for a little while.
Yes.
Yeah. The next report would be from the New Bern Towers.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Car rate is 96%. We have 3 outstanding requests on the work orders, which is completed. And we had 4 police reports, was trespassing and 911 call.
Appreciate a good report.
Yes. Perfect. Fred, please.
Need to quit. Order, you need to quit. Good job. Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Good job. Thank you. Good job. Any questions or comments from Ms. Simmons?
Mr. Chairman, I do want to say while we're on the towers that I really do think without spending a lot of money and it being a real capital improvement, that there's just so many things we could do while we're waiting on the trench court situation, making terrorists coming back. I mean, I don't think we could have to spend a lot of money to really landscaping and freshen that building up. It's a really dynamic. If you've ever been on the roof of it, you can't really get a feel for what that building is in New Bern. But I just don't think you have to spend a lot of money to really freshen that building up aesthetically.
We're working on it, Dana. I can assure you, they can tell you, I harp on that every day, every month since I've been.
That's a building we could really be proud of.
Yes, sir. No, we we agree with you wholeheartedly. Thank
And I
you.
think it could lift the spirits of
I agree. I rode by the other day and I actually parked and got out to look at it, and I agree. And I'm quite sure that, yeah. Yeah, I agree though, I do. So
What's keeping us from it? So is it, do we get more money or what is it that?
Just the processes we're going
Okay.
through. Just to be very candid, this agency is like, coming here and the issues that we needed to address. It's like eating an elephant. It's just one bite at a time.
Amen.
And, we had some other priorities that we focused on, but Newbern Towers is a major focus, and Tasha and other ladies in office know that. I mean, they're smiling because they know. I'm being honest. You singing right down my lane.
some love.
Yeah, and that's what I've said all along is curb appeal, the exterior, the interior, the entryways, all of those things is those things that we're focused on. So we're all on the same page. We're going through, literally we had closets. LaShante, the young lady at the front desk, we had closets in that building that had stuff in it probably for the last 30 years. And we have cleaned out every single closet, organized it, painted it, doing that, so again, we hear you, we're working on those things. And I'm just glad that y'all brought it up in the board meeting. So it doesn't seem like I'm just fussing about it, all the time, that y'all have brought it up as well, that it's important, but we talk about these things every day and the team is working hard to get it right.
There's good closet cleaners out there. I could use them too.
I'll tell you what, that was a little bit more than the normal cost.
That is not New Year's resolution. Get my closet clean. Lord have mercy. Oh, Lord.
Where they look. Yeah.
any more comments or
Good point,
questions
Dana.
for Ms. Simmons at the Towers? If not, at this time, we'll have Supreme Court with Ms. Minor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have 93% occupancy rates. The par rate is 109%. We have 13 for non-payment pending terminations. Go to court tomorrow. And out of the 13, we are taking 7. We had more than that, but they came up with the money before I could file the paper, so that was great. Pending repair, we have 42 outstanding requests, 19 police reported. 2 was assisted other agencies, and 3 were traffic stops. That's something new that Sergeant Legit put up there. So he's our new person from Sergeant Church. We added the traffic stops up there, so. Any questions?
Your report's perfect too. I get a high five.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Look at it.
It's a new year. I do is I take my last months of this month. Y'all done good. Please give them a special treat, Okay. I don't fuss at you the way I fuss at
Any questions or comments for Ms. Minor besides the job? Really, yeah, really appreciate that. Because y'all been through.
Been through it.
Yeah. The next report would be the Ross program. Is that?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let me see what I got. And for the management is still going well. Everything is up to date. Currently, I'm still working with the resident the CNI resident assessments for redevelopment. I'm at 78%, but I do have some more appointments that if I can get more before the deadline, which is January 31st. So, as far as the residence classes, I have that scheduled for finance and budgeting. It'll start February 19th for online access. We have a new partnership with North Carolina State University for digital inclusion and internet access. That will be February 26th for an hour. It may run over an hour from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. February 26th. So that's all I have new.
Ms. Warner, and I don't know if this would be through us or not. With Stanley White opening now and all the programming they're going to have and access, do we have any way to, resources to get children, youth, maybe even seniors over there, since transportation could be a barrier for them to use that beautiful facility? Do we have any plans, or is there anything budgeted?
We haven't talked about that yet. That was one of the reasons I wanted to do the March 17th meeting there.
Okay.
Sometimes asking people to come for a particular reason, so we'll be offering pizza and that kind of stuff for that meeting, because naturally. So we're gonna offer refreshments and pizza that evening, but that's my intent, is to try to do that, to encourage the residents to come that night so they can see it, and then hopefully they can start participating.
While it really is a walkable distance, there may be some elderly, or,
Sure.
you don't want kids crossing the street, over there, it might not be safe. So I think we need to maybe put together through Ross or through something, a program where when they do have particular, things going on there, that we'd be able to get our residents to participate. Good resource.
Absolutely.
Y'all want to see, John, what good?
No, I was just mentioning, I said, normally like, during Christmas time, the Parks and Rec bus will come and pick the residents up and take them to see the lights, so that's probably a partnership.
Perfect. That would be great.
See? We needed to hear. Thank you all. Any more questions for Ms. Hutchins? Any more comments, anything for her with the Ross program? Thank you for what you do. All right, Executive Director, we have some resolutions.
Yeah, I think I had a phone call earlier with Mr. Bingle, and we talked a little bit about the annual plan. Want to kind of talk it openly with you guys. But my suggestion, per my conversation with her, is we'll table this until next month. Sabrina would like for the public hearing process that we've undertaken previously to incorporate the board as part of that. The only thing that the only thing I would encourage that if we for this process change it as we plan to do, and do a public hearing that involves you all as commissioners, that we will need to have a quorum of the commissioners in order for it to be effective. Generally, when we do the public hearing for the annual plan, there are no residents generally attend, or people from the community attend. However, based on the conversation we heard, she thought it would be a good idea. It's not required by law. I talked to Jamie about it. So.
No, I did a little research, and the only thing I'm saying, Jamie, I've got it right here. Whatever this is, CFR 903.17. Well, this was a question. What's the process for obtaining public comment on 5-year plans? It says the Public Housing Board of Directors or similar governing body must conduct a public hearing to discuss the public housing plan, either the 5-year plan and or the annual plan, and invite the public to comment on the plans. And of course, it has to be at a location that's convenient. But it says who must hold the hearing or board? The governing board. It says that in everything. And a public hearing is a public hearing.
Well, I think if the board wants to be present at the public hearing, you certainly can be.
You can't open a
Um,
public hearing without a board. I asked that question when I was in Miami.
The executive director has always been delegated the authority to hold the public hearing. And the discussion occurs when he reports the results of the public hearing to the board in a regular board meeting. If you want me to do a resolution or a policy on the meetings or do a in-depth legal research on it, I will, but I've looked at this before. There's no housing authority that I can identify anywhere where the Board of Commissioners opens the public hearing. I've looked at the HUD Inspector General's audits of housing authorities, and there are no criticisms of any housing authority where the Board of Commissioners is not present or does not open the public hearing. There are criticisms where the public hearing is not held, but the Code of Federal Regulations, the certifications that the chair has to sign, the US Code, none of it defines public hearing. And it's always been the practice, and it can change, that the public hearing is held at a time and a place that's convenient for the staff and for the residents. That's always been delegated to the executive director, and the executive director reports back to the Housing Authority Board the results of the public hearing. If there were comments, and there hardly ever are, if there were comments, the Housing Board then at that point should inquire whether they want to hear more about the comments and more information. There is a deadline involved in filing the plan. I think it's just like a month and a half before the end of your fiscal year. So you're good if you wanted to have some sort of change this year. You have to have notice of 45 days. There's no indication under the law whether the hearing is only effective if you have a quorum of the meeting of the commissioners. If the commissioners wanted to convene a public hearing as the convening body and you don't have a quorum, does that spoil the whole process and you have to start over?
Yeah.
I think those are policy decisions for this board to make.
I'm just really conflicted because that was a question. We had an attorney at the conference and I did ask that question. And his response was, yes, you must, the housing authority commissioners or the public body has to open up the public hearing. They stage the public hearing. Now, he did say, I'm not sure what the laws of North Carolina are. He said it has nothing to do with HUD because I asked that question. Is this a HUD decision? He said, no, it would, he could not answer to the North Carolina state law. So that was the only thing that
I think it's a
conflicted us.
policy decision for this board.
I think it would be for transparency purposes or whatever. If nobody shows up, I can't tell you how many public hearings I've been involved in from the city to TDA and other, organizations that I'm in that no one shows up, but you make the motion, you open up the public hearing, no one comes forward, you close the public hearing, and then you vote on the process. But to me,
You're not
it's,
gonna vote at that meeting. You don't vote at the public hearing.
sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Not here though,
Well-
not for the housing.
Well, we would have voted today on this.
Right, and that's.
Yeah, but we haven't had, but we've had I didn't know
Yeah.
if somebody show up or.
So, and again, I don't want to, as I said to someone, been in this business since 1986. There are no housing authorities that I know of in the country where the board conducts the public hearing for the annual plan. However, as I said, we will table it this month, make a decision. You all, as Jamie said, Newbern Housing Authority can choose to do whatever policy you all want to change. I just don't know. I get what you're saying, and as Jamie indicated, that authority has always been delegated. And I think if you call any housing authority in the country, they will tell you that the Housing Authority Board, in 99% of the time, is not conducting the public hearing. But if you all, as you say, for the purposes of Newbern, however you all want to do it, we can change it. It doesn't matter to me because it's just a public hearing to be able to get it. So I'm in favor. Let me go on the record. I'm in favor of doing it however you all want to do it. I'm comfortable with it and have no qualms about it. That's why I just said, for the sake of discussion for today, let's just table it and then make a decision on how we want to proceed and go forward from there.
So one more point and going forward, and thinking about this, as you said to me today that no one did show up, so there was no comments. Again, if there were comments, how do we know what those comments are? How do we play? I mean, is it highlighted then in the plan as far as it's not?
Yes. So
We may want to incorporate it. The reason is there may be a comment that we as a board say, that's justifiable. We should adjust our plan to include that comment.
and again, so to kind of go back to it again, and this is good dialogue. The Housing Authority staff and executive director at agencies conduct the assessment to make a determination what repairs and what items go into the annual plan. They put those things in the annual plan with the help and assistance of the architect, as we've done. And then that plan is put together. We then put that, we then hold a public hearing related to those items based on what that plan is. We receive comment from residents as it relates to those things. If those comments are warranted, to your point, if those comments are warranted to make a change to the plan, then we make a change at that time from a staff level standpoint, and then we bring that to the board as a recommendation. If the board, in you all case, want to change that process and want to be more intricately involved in the process, then again, I'm okay with it. I'm just sharing with you, good, bad, or indifferent. That's not traditionally how it's been done, but that doesn't mean we got to do it that way. And I'm willing and open to do whatever you all choose.
In that discussion, and then Jamie and Sabrina, in your opinions, I've watched this in different capacities for many years. I think since high school, I've had pretty good general knowledge of county government, city government, because city government, county government are open. And there's a lot of interaction at meetings between citizens and those boards. I have not seen that with the housing authority. Anybody in New Bern that wants to be more familiar with the housing authority, they could be, but they're not. And part of the reason they're not is the housing authority does not operate that way. For years, as far as I remember, they operated at the DoubleTree, eating steak dinner on Monday night or whatever. Now,
Again,
but I don't think,
I want to make sure that when we, Dana, to be fair, I want to make sure that when we make statements that because it's a public meeting, also, as I shared with other commissioners before, and I agree with you. The housing authority can offer and have meals at the meeting.
I'm not belaboring
Okay.
steak dinner,
Okay,
but that's a fact. It's not correct. Having said that, my vision for this board, this appointed board, would be to operate more like a county board, city board, because I think this board and the members on it want to see big things for New Bern: safety, affordability, prices, wellness, mental health issues. We want to be a part of that. I think the more that we open ourselves up to the community, the reason that you don't ever see any input is, I just told you why. Most people, they feel, I wouldn't say comfortable, but they feel a part of the process of county and city government. There's a big unknown about the housing authority, and I would think, I don't care what other communities do. I'm talking about New Bern right now. I think New Bern, with CNI implementations, with CNI grants, with partnerships with redevelopment commission, city of New Bern, et cetera, I think we can move football forward a lot more if and when this board ever starts operating like what it is, it is a public meeting. So coming in for the landing, if this board for future is going to operate like it always did at the DoubleTree and that kind of thing, and even here. I'm not for what Sabrina's saying. I'm for what Jamie's saying. If this board ever wants to move the football a little further with each play, and they're gonna start opening themselves to citizenry input and interaction between this community, I'm for what Sabrina's saying.
Okay, and as I said to Jamie,
It's fine.
that's fine. Yeah, so.
But my idea would be to open the meeting and the chairman hand the meeting over legally if he could, if he or she could, to the executive director. Because the executive director will be a more hands-on person because of your longevity learning conversion versus just a chairman
Sure.
that's appointed for a 2-year term, whatever.
And that's why I said, whatever this community chooses to do, I don't have an issue with it. Y'all make the decision. How it works is, board sets policy, staff carries out policy. Tell me how y'all want it, I'm gonna make it happen. So I'm comfortable with the recommendation and the decision. So if y'all wanna make a motion and do that, as I said, I'm tabling it for this month. I'm asking.
Or they can make a motion tonight, and we can get the ball on, whichever.
I mean, as much in this community as anybody will know, what happened tonight will be Wendy Card's, her, however Wendy writes that up. That's where that's how the community will know what happened.
Sure. And that doesn't make it right or wrong, that just makes it what she writes up. At the end of the day, all I'm trying to say is, I agree with you. So if y'all, to Jamie's point, if one of you all, and I'm comfortable with it, make a motion that we change it to.
Well, I say going forward, at this point, you had a public hearing, you advertised it, you had it, no one showed up. Okay, so I think you've done, but I think going forward, if we have to have a public hearing for something, I think it should. And again, this is my one thing. I mean, the board should open it up. We should hear what the public comment is. I can't make
I think you should
decisions.
have a retreat and kind of at ease, decide what flavor you
Yeah,
want to go
know
with
that
in the future.
And
And I think you're gonna find with what I think is possible for this city, with the leadership we have, you're gonna want to modify things.
question, Reggie. I know there's an annual plan and a 5-year plan, but because we have so few units, we don't have to do an annual plan. We just have to do a 5-year plan, or is there something there?
The annual plan is the 1 year
Correct.
of the
The
annual
5 year.
plan, of the 5-year. The 5-year that we have here, the 24 is the annual plan. The 25 and above, the 25 and above is the 5-year plan. And then the 24.
You have to have the public hearing for both the annual and
Because we incorporate.
you incorporate it into one. Okay.
One. And that's why I shared is, based on this discussion, it would be my recommendation, if that's where we're going, it's not hindering anything. My recommendation is to Dana's point, if this is the direction we're going, then what I would say is, let's just make the change. And we table it for this month and give the transparency that you all want an opportunity to play out. So that way we're all comfortable moving forward. That would be my recommendation at this point.
I will tell you, in appointing people to this board and all, and in general discussions with the majority of the members, past, present, and future, most folks do not want to be more open. I don't, that's the culture of the whole situation nationwide. I think it should be a lot more,
Yeah.
I agree with the transparency piece, and I agree with Mr. Bonner about, let's go ahead on and table this for further discussion, and we can go in a direction. Transparency been a thing I've been hearing, I don't know how long, and we won't know until we go ahead and give them an opportunity to show up, and if they know, show in, we'll do what we need to do, and policies be made, policies can be changed, but give an opportunity for the transparency piece, and like you said, and we know, most folks don't show up. you know, but we do what we need to do and, make that effort. Maybe, you know, one of my favorite songs, change is gonna come. Maybe change is here, you know, but we won't know until we give them an opportunity. So, you know.
I have a question. I understand, I think what the point that you're trying to make, what is the difference between what you're saying and what we're doing now with the CNI listening sessions that we've been having? It's a lot of, is it not the same thing? Are we not transparent or enough? I don't, what is the difference or?
It's a requirement. I mean,
I'm just saying you feel it's a requirement.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I went online and I asked, what is required to hold a public hearing for a 5-year plan? And it says, key points about the 5-year plan requirement. Purchase to ensure resident input and transparency regarding the public housing plans for housing development and management over the next 5 years. Who must hold the hearing? The Public Housing Authority Governing Board or similar entity. But still, a governing board, I would think, is higher than a similar entity would be, someone that is either elected or has that power. And then it just talks about the notice and the comments. So that's where I got that from. What they're doing is a listening session, yeah. You can.
But they were able to make comments as well, and we heard those.
I don't know why they don't come for this, but they come for that. Maybe we need to do something different. I don't know.
I think that what we're doing with the CI is something that interests them. The 5-year plan, so what? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. We may open it.
I just,
I mean, listen, there's no non-delegation doctrine or constitutional law equivalent that applies to public housing boards here, so we could delegate such things. I don't think there's a real reason not to have an open meeting we're involved in for it. So to the extent that, yeah, I mean, I think it could
be on our
for
agenda.
some
It could be on our agenda,
transparency,
say,
especially with all the changes that may be coming, we hope, make sure people realize, no one's trying to hide the ball here, so there's no reason not to do it. Notice and comment normally, right? And I do this work, and normally in like the federal system, there's a pretty defined role for it, including written comments. And we could certainly, in addition to having a public meeting, which I agree most people wouldn't, I don't expect us to get a huge turnout for it, but we could do it. But we could also create something on the website where we allow people to file written comments and we consider them fully, right? I don't know that, this isn't like an SEC rulemaking or the equivalent. So I don't know that I don't think we get thousands of comments. So I don't think it would overwhelm us to do it. So to let people say if they want to put a written comment in, we would consider it. I think we'll be fine.
Here's an idea. Why don't, if the board wants to authorize Reggie and me to prepare a written policy going forward where we encourage participation, we ask for written comments during the 45-day period or something like that. You have a hearing that's convened by the Board of
It could be
Commissioners.
part of our regular meeting. That's the thing.
Except it needs to be at a convenient time and place for the tenants. That's where I get concerned.
Yeah.
And that's where.
Well, so we can hold our meeting at somewhere else and then
We just have a special.
different venue.
And that would be the public hearing. We could put but I think before we start doing all that, we need to
Right.
put it down on writing, and then you need to agree on exactly what it is you want to do.
And I'm just
I agree.
curious too, other board members, I know Dana and Ron will be leaving us, but I don't know how well ladies are versed in a 5-year plan. I mean, I went through that and I had some questions. I've seen it, but I haven't really seen it. So maybe a work session at some point, if we're gonna be responsible for this or whatever, we should understand what we're being responsible for. I just wanted to make sure, like, I had a question. Where does the demolition play into this 5-year plan? Because we're obviously, I hope, Reggie, we're going to demolish within 5 years, and I didn't say anything of that, does the Charles Taylor, does the operation and maintenance have to go in that? Because that'll certainly open up in the next 5 years. I just didn't know that. And it may be it's not supposed to be part of this. I just don't know. So those were the kind of questions I had as far as understanding the 5-year plan.
And my assumption was that stuff's contingent, so it wouldn't be in a 5-year plan until we have.
Okay, so that would be the answer to the question, but I didn't know. Okay, I'm good with that.
Although the Charles Taylor is ongoing.
It's just, I mean, all we're doing now is just the demo of it, but that's being covered by FEMA.
Yeah.
By-
It's not part of the separate
It's
project,
being paid for by capital funds, which
Yeah.
is.
which is what FEMA
Plan
funded.
covers it.
Yeah.
So we're tabling it.
Thank you, sir.
So do you, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
want us to write something down for you to review next month?
I want input from, because with me, I mean, no harm, but need their input.
Janelle, how do you feel about that?
I think we can just table it. I don't think we need to have anything per se in writing. Let's just table it until our next meeting, if that's okay with everyone.
Mhm.
I just want to say also I don't mind being transparent. I mean, I think we all agree on what to do, but how to do it is what needs to be discussed in the next meeting.
Agreed.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the input with that, because everybody need to be heard. And like I said, transparency is a buzzword that, nobody has anything to hide. So whatever we need to do to make people feel more comfortable and involved, and that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. So are there any closed session items, Mr.
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. That being the case, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Ready to go, aren't you?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning the meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Man.
All opposed? But again, thank you all. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for what we've done in the last 2 years. Sometimes it don't feel like